Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. I am Jeff Bidwell. Glad you are with us today. Hope everybody had a great Easter weekend and time to get back at it today as we look back today at a busy weekend. It's just that time of year, busy weekend of signings and commitments around the Missouri Valley Conference. We're also going to talk with a longtime Hall of Fame radio voice of the Bradley Braves men's basketball program, Dave Snell. He'll be with us here in about 10, 15 minutes. Talk about a 28-win year here for the Bradley Braves, but certainly going to be a new look edition and version of the Braves coming up next year as Brian Wardle goes into season number 11 in Peoria. So that we'll have that coming up in just a bit. We've talked a lot about the transfer portal here the last couple of weeks, and it is a big week in the portal because within the next 48 hours on both the men's and women's side, that portal will close. The portal officially closes tomorrow for the men. Wednesday, it closes for the women. The last rough numbers I have seen, 2,100 men's players across the country have gone into the portal, 1,400 on the women's side. Now, just as a reminder, when the portal closes, that does not end the timeline basically for kids that are in the portal to commit to their new school. They have time still to find a new landing place. What it just means is the portal closes, they can't get into the portal, which would mean if the portal has closed and they want to go somewhere else to play, they have to sit out a year. So this is kind of the get out of jail free card where they are able to transfer immediately, play immediately, and so that's what the advantageous portion of the portal is. Now, the two, there's always an exception to the rule, right? Always, certainly when it comes to the NCAA, whether it is if you're a grad transfer or if your coach leaves, gets fired, whatever, you are then able to get into the portal, even though it is officially closed. But here within the next day or two, it will close. And it's still amazing to me. And again, I just always assume it's some sort of advice from, agents or somebody in their inner circle that maybe it's better if you can't be the first one in the pool, you want to be the last one in the pool. But I mean, again, we're 24, 48 hours away. And still today, you see kids getting into the portal here at the last minute. But that's kind of the timeline we're watching here over the next 48 hours as things will finally close. And then hopefully at least the getting in will slow down. And then we can start seeing these kids get placed at their or finding at least new landing spots for their careers. This morning, what I wanted to talk about off the top is just we have seen so much movement from a couple schools. Murray State has gone into the portal, got a ton of guys. We've seen Illinois State keep so many of their guys. Northern Iowa keeping a lot of their guys as well. Drake, head coach Eric Henderson's been able to go in and get a few guys out of the portal. But for so much in the Missouri Valley Conference so far in the last couple of weeks, it's been very quiet. Not a lot of certainly defections because that's just natural this time of the year, but not necessarily a lot of additions coming in. But we have finally seen some teams outside of those four that I've previously mentioned that have finally hopped in and started doing some acquisitions. And we're going to start this morning with the Flames of UIC as they gotten some commitments here over the last couple of days. First and foremost, Abdul Momo, who was the defensive player of the year in the Northeast Conference, played at Central Connecticut State. He has committed to UIC, 6'7" forward, 8.5 points a game last season. 6 rebounds, 1.5 blocks, shot 59% from the field. He is a big piece for Rob Eson to go get. Certainly, you get a defensive player of the year. You love that. You love the guys on the defensive end, but they have some size they need to replace. That was the one thing going up against a UIC team last year. They could just throw size at you down low, whether it was a Philip Schobal, whether it was a Sasha Siani. Well, both of those guys have moved on. And so trying to replace that and certainly replacing those guys with some quality size going and get the reigning defensive player of the year out of the Northeast Conference from Central Connecticut State, a pretty good start there. We also have Josiah Hammonds, who has committed to the Flames. Chicago kid, started his career at Incarnate Word down in Texas, went across the state, played for Sam Houston State, but he is coming home to Chicago, has 1 year left to play. Played 2 years at junior college, and this is the fuzzy math, which will probably be litigated at some point. That the the NCAA, remember, gave the waiver to the JUCO kids that if their career, and if I'm reading this correctly, if their career was supposed to end in 24-25 and they had played some amount of time in the junior college or NAIA ranks, something that's non-NCAA, they were going to get an additional year. So if you played 2 years of junior college, you're only getting one more year. So, but he played 2 years. So we'll see if, if there's waivers and all that stuff moving forward. But we believe he just has one year to go. You saw as a third year college student at Incarnate Word, Hammonds was dynamite. I mean, he averaged 12 and a half points a game, played about 30 minutes a game for Incarnate Word. Numbers dropped at Sam Houston State down to about 22 minutes a game, averaged 6.5 points. But the one thing that did improve was his 3-point shooting, going from 35.5% to 38.5%. So given some guard depth for Rob Eson up there in Chicago. As I said, we will talk with Dave Snell, the radio voice of the Bradley Braves, coming up. One young man that is heading to Bradley. His name is Alex Hubricks. He is a guard that spent 5 years at Wright State. Had a COVID year, had a redshirt year, so he's got 1 year of eligibility, and he is coming to play in Peoria for Brian Wardle. And this is, we talked about, shooting never goes out of style, and you can never have enough shooting. They've got some shooting now coming in from Dayton, Ohio, in Alex Hubricks. 13.5 points last year for Wright State. Last 3 years from three-point range, he shot 39%, 42%, 38%. He is a sixth-year, 6'3" guard, and going to be able to bring some offensive fireworks to Peoria for Coach Brian Wardle. Another school that has been quiet, and that has been Southern Illinois. Not a lot going on from a portal standpoint for the Salukis, but things have picked up considerably here in the last couple of days. First off, for Coach Scott Nagy, got 5'11" freshman guard Quelron House out of Jacksonville State. He has committed to Southern Illinois. All Conference USA freshman team, averaged 8.5 points, 3 assists, shot about 36% from 3-point range. So get another guard in there in Carbondale. The other name that comes in that is going to be familiar to Saluki fans, and his name is Caden Hawkins. He played at nearby John A. Logan Junior College, just about 10 minutes down the road from Carbondale, there at John A. Logan. 6'1" guard. Again, should have, if my math is correct, we'll get a year back. So he's got 3 years of Division I eligibility remaining. His dad is Shane Hawkins, who is the all-time three-point leader in Southern Illinois history. Number 1 in all-time three-point makes. He is number 19 on SIU's all-time scoring list. Played in some of those SIU NCAA tournament teams back in the mid to late 90s. Led the Salukis in assists for 3 straight years from 1996 to 98. So he was an assistant coach there at one time. Now he's a local high school coach in Southern Illinois, and his son Caden is now a Southern Illinois Saluki. So certainly will be a fan favorite. I would imagine most definitely in Carbondale with those Saluki faithful. Moving along to some other additions from the portal here in the last couple of days. We have Valparaiso, and Roger Powell has been extremely active here as of late, as we've talked about his needing to really refill the coffers after All Right moved on to Xavier. Cooper Schwieger moving on to Wake Forest. Got a junior college point guard, Mark Brown, out of Snow Junior College. And he comes from a winning program. Snow was 32-2 this past season, made it to the second round, got upset in the second round of the National Junior College tournament. Really saw development from him from a freshman season onto a sophomore season. Freshman year, averaged 7.8 points a game, 2.5 assists, shot 27% from 3-point range. As a sophomore, you saw his numbers go from 8 points a game up to 13.5 points a game. Assists go from 2.5 to 4.5. And maybe most significantly from the 3 point line goes from 26.9, so 27%, all the way up to north of 36% from three. So a good guard pickup there for Coach Roger Powell there at Valpo. Have a little bit of a mea culpa to pass along this morning as we had a last week was firing out all these commitments from Valparaiso, and so many of these portal accounts are burner accounts, as we like to say, and but just in my acquiring and accumulation of this kid committed, that kid signed, this kid, and I've got the whole list, and then I put them all together again in the show, and one slipped through the cracks, as I had said that JQ Roberts, who was from Vanderbilt, had committed to Valparaiso, and that account was from a hopes and dreams account, apparently, because he did not commit to Vanderbilt. He in over the weekend on Saturday, he committed to Davidson. So JQ Roberts will not be a Beacon. Instead, he is headed to North Carolina to be a member of the Davidson program. So we will make sure we do a better job there on our fact checking of all this Fast and Furious portal news in the future. And I apologize about that. On the women's side, Layla Gold, another former Valpo standout fourth leading scorer for the Beacons last year. She was already into the portal. She has committed to move on to Oakland. On the women's side, we have talked about teams that have been quiet as well. And Indiana State, certainly one of the schools that has been quiet as, and we have Mr. Dave Snell trying to call me right now. So we're going to multitask here and try to text him. Okay, so Indiana State lost everybody to the portal this year. Everybody. And so in an effort to trying to get that roster reloaded, they have gone into the Division II ranks and got a young lady by the name of Amaya Blake. She is a guard out of Emporia State. She has, let's see. Okay. So it looks like we're having some problems with Mr. Snell here. So we're going to try to get him on here in a little bit. We'll keep working here with Amaya Blake from Emporia State. She played 2 years at Missouri St. Louis, Division II Missouri St. Louis, 1 year at Emporia State, 5'8" guard, only played 7 games last year because of a foot injury, but she has now transferred in to Coach Mitchell's team there at Indiana State. Another addition to that program for next year is a young lady by the name of Kayla Smith. She is coming from Mercer. She is coming from Mercer to Indiana State as well. 5'11" junior. She's got 1 year remaining, 5 points per game, 2 rebounds. Struggled shooting the ball last year, just 28% from the field, 27% from 3-point range, but will bring some certainly bring some experience to Coach Mitchell's team there as they try to get things rolling again in Terre Haute. We say goodbye to some friends from the Valley as we have seen kids transferring out of the league. Evansville's Maggie Hartwig, she led the league in both led the team for the Purple Aces last year in both scoring and rebounding, 16.5 points a game, 9 rebounds, the 6'1" sophomore forward into the portal. She has moved on now, committing over the weekend to South Dakota State, 40% from the floor, 34.5% from 3-point range. Is Maggie Hartwig. So she is moving on. UIC has entered the conversation as well as of late, as Amelia Strong, a transfer from Niagara University, 6'2" junior forward, coming off a Niagara team that was just 3-25 last year. Certainly struggled, but Strong had a solid year, almost 10 points a game, 5 rebounds, shot 42% from the floor. She's heading up to Coach Bracey's team there in Chicago, and some more just strength and size. And UIC last year was there was such a divide in the women's game in the conference of the top 6 teams and then the bottom 6 teams. But UIC was, while they were technically in the bottom 6, they were 6.5, because, opening day of the year, they went and beat Missouri State, who was a team that earned a share of the regular season championship. And then they went to hosted Murray State, beat them as well, who won a share of the regular season championship, and then moved on to the NCAA tournament as well. So UIC, they had some pieces, and they've got another piece here with Amelia Strong coming in. It appears we have taken care of our technical difficulties, and we're hopefully going to bring in the man, the Hall of Famer. He is Snell. Mr. Snell, how are you this morning?
Fine. I tried my computer; it wouldn't let me in, so I went to my phone, and it let me in. So,
Oh, good.
Sorry, I'm a little late, but
you're doing fine. I have. I did not realize until this morning, when just trying to do my due diligence, a little background, that a former TV guy yourself once upon a time, and I spent 25 years in that business. So, as you know as well as anybody, tap dancing is part of the job sometimes when you have to buy a little time.
Yeah, I think back to the years in television. I started actually in a long time ago, and when we had to type the scripts, they pasted them together and then ran them through a teleprompter. You probably have heard of that or did that.
Yes.
And sometimes it got hung up, so you'd better know the script and be able to ad lib. So, I left television in 2001 and worked for Bradley ever since.
Well, almost 1,500 games now. We'll get to that in a little bit. You watched 37 games this year. Braves 28-9, finished second in the league. 15-5, made it to the quarterfinals of the NIT after falling to Drake in the championship game at Arch Madness. From Dave Snell's seat, how did this season play out? Maybe especially when you look at expectations we had all through the summer leading up to getting this thing rolling.
Well, they were really rolling until a 3-game set. They lost at home to Drake. Seeing that for the first time, they struggled for a team that holds the ball for 25 seconds and then gives it to an incredible player, and he makes a play. Then they lost, and that game was at home. They went to your place and won, and then beat Belmont. But Belmont came back, and you know how they could score,
right?
And Bradley tried to outscore them, and they won on a last possession, and then they went to Northern Iowa and got beat again, and that was probably Northern Iowa's best game of the year. So they were, as in boxing, needed to take a standing 8 count, and they did, and then they started playing well again and got ready for the tournament. And unfortunately, the final game and the tournament was really competitive for the most part going in, but there really weren't any close games. I think the closest game was the Thursday night game between was it Southern Illinois and I can't remember the other.
Valpo and UIC, maybe.
That was it, and it was a terrific game. And then Bradley went to the championship, and there was a series where there was a loose ball, and one of the Drake players knocked over Darius Hannah, and Duke Dean didn't like it, so he pushed him. So when they cleared everything, Hannah went to the line, missed 2 free throws. They called a flagrant on Duke. They went down, hit 2 free throws, and then 2 more free throws, and then hit a 3, and that game was over.
Yeah.
So then they get the NIT bid, and they play very well in the first 2 games. They won a close game, And then they went to George Mason, who'd only lost one game at home all year, and really handled them well. But near the end of that game, Darius Hannah twisted a knee, and he was gone for the season. And then they came back and played Chattanooga, and the eventual champions, and lost on the last possession. I think if Hannah had played, they would have won the tournament,
Yeah.
but
They
he
were,
didn't.
and that's the joy of sports, I guess. The agony of
Yep.
sports all rolled into one. There was some controversy, for lack of a better word, right before the NIT started, when I believe Darius and Zeke Montgomery opted out, and then Darius had to change of heart to come back. And we see it a lot in football with bowl games. We haven't seen it a lot with basketball, but I think on some level you can understand it. But it's just new to people, and so there's always an emotional reaction. With a month perspective on it, we're have people are people more understanding of the decision or thought process? Or are they still dug in that, buddy, we need you guys to the end of the road?
Well, Darius' situation was that he was having some issues anyway, and he didn't want to jeopardize his pro uh, potential and playing, and that was why that decision was made. It wasn't because he didn't want to play.
Right.
And finally, he took a couple days off, thought about it, and said, "This is where I belong, and I'm going to play." Montgomery, on the other hand, I don't know what his thought process was. Probably just didn't want to play anymore. And so
How'd the
I think
fans
that
handle it? I mean, the fans still, the fans.
no, the fans were thrilled with Darius and understood the situation
Yeah.
at first when they didn't understand because it's not this stuff is not made public.
Right.
So they just thought that he's decided, well, I don't want to play, and that wasn't the case at all. And so a lot of times fans jump to conclusions,
Really?
and he did play, and he played marvelously in both games until he got hurt. So his legend is safe at Bradley. So you never know these days. This is a strange time in college athletics.
When we talk about legends, Duke Dean, who
Oh my.
has 3 years, 1,300 some odd points, two-time first team All Valley player. I witnessed it firsthand in Peoria when the Racers were up there, and I think are up 16 or 17 in the second half. And Duke Dean just decided we're not losing and went on a heater, unlike you don't see it very often. Just made every shot from every place on the floor, and was just I was like, wow, this kid is dynamite. Where is his? How high up the totem pole is he residing right now in the legendary status department for Braves fans?
He's right there. First of all, his personality is just through the roof. That smile of his, he's one of the most likable guys that you'll ever be around. He's, by the way, playing in one of the six top leagues in Europe with a team. He signed with a team from Germany, and already, so that's good for him. His legacy will be remembered for a lot of things. First of all, hitting a 75-foot shot at halftime against Valparaiso to give Bradley a lead rather than a 2-point disadvantage. Um, he scored 35 points at Missouri State for his career high and hit, I think, 13 threes in the game. That was the year before. That was in his junior year. But it's just the way that he led in practice. He was no doubt the leader of that team and spoke up when coaches just turned it over to him. So his legacy will go right up there with all the point guards, and Bradley's had a lot of them. But he doesn't need to take a back seat to anybody, and it's just his personality that really stands out. He has been a wonderful player to watch and be with, and be off of. He for the first NIT or the second NIT game against Chattanooga, we had a line of 2.5 hours at our ticket
Mm.
office. And Duke went by, and he was getting ready for to go down to Carver Arena for practice. And I went out there and I said, "Can you come in here for about a couple minutes and just walk through here because these people are getting angry that they have to wait so long for tickets?" He said, "Sure." And so he went and walked through there and waved to the people, and they gave him this incredible ovation. That's the type of thing that Duke would do. He loved the community, and the community loved him.
In the long line of point guards. And I don't know that this is purposeful, but you go from one 5'8" point guard to another 5'8" point guard now in Jaquan Johnson. Just so impressed with him as a freshman last year, and just the physicality that he has already as 1 year in the college game. Uh, what do you see from Jaquan, moving forward and sort of and trying to play out his career a little bit?
Well, he's been helped by the players that they have brought in because they have brought in some guards as well that will make his scoring not as uh, necessary as it might have been.
Right.
But he was an outstanding running back in football.
I bet. Just a bowling ball.
Yes, and they call him Bully. It's short for bulldozer, and he has an incredible ability to go through trees and make shots, and he's not afraid of contact. And I think that's a football background for him. He learned a lot from Duke, and now Daryl Brown, who was an MVP at the tournament and never get. I always talked to Daryl. I said, if Bradley would make the NCAA, you should petition the NCAA to play in at least one game because he missed it because of COVID.
Yeah.
That was the year that happened. Daryl is now with his godfather as an assistant coach, Penny Hardaway. He
Oh,
went to
okay.
Memphis, and Memphis is his hometown, but he had a lot to do with the development of Duke Dean and of course Jaquan now. So a tip of the hat to Daryl Brown, who is one of the best point guards that Bradley has had. Walt Lemon Jr. I mean, you can go Jim Less, uh, Billy Wright. I mean, all of these guys have uh, have made it not only uh, in their basketball careers, but they've been very successful coaches
Yep.
going elsewhere. Point guards are like baseball catchers. They seem to find manager jobs and do very well. So, but Jaquan is going to be. I mean, he's only a sophomore, and in these days, you just take him 1 year at a time, don't you?
That's
Because
it.
you never know.
That's it. We're all on 1 year contracts
Yeah.
at this point. When you talk about coaching, guys that have been with Brian Wardle for a long time, Jimmy Foster, Mike Bargan moving on. Uh, Jimmy Foster going with Ollie Frokmanesh to Colorado State. Mike Bargan going to Indiana with Darren DeVries. Just from the replacements are there and they're set, but from guys that have been with Coach Wardle for as long as they have been, what kind of adjustment is that going to be for Coach? Just losing those veteran voices.
Well, he's one of the coaches he had at Green Bay, so he knows of him and is very comfortable with him. Those two guys, I'm so happy for both of them because and so is Brian. When you have a chance to move up to the programs they moved up to, it says a lot for Brian and his ability to. Assistant coaches don't stay 10 years.
Right. No.
So there was a great deal of loyalty there and and confidence. You knew that when somebody had a scout, it was going to be thorough. When there needed to be, and Mike was pretty much the offensive guru, and Jimmy had the big guys. They both did terrific jobs, and to be noticed like that and get jobs at that level says a lot for Brian. And he's very happy with the guys he brought in. He's very comfortable with them. I met them when they came in on that day, as a matter of fact, and we had some conversations, and we had recruits in at the same time. And so obviously there's going to be a learning curve, but Mike Black is here still. And I think that the new guys are going to fit in quite nicely.
Brian Wardle has just finished decade number one at
Yeah.
Bradley, year number 10. To go from 5-27 to 13-20 his first 2 years, and now here these last 3 years of 25 wins, 23 wins, 28 wins. What have you seen from him in terms of development of a program, and maybe just development of a head coach, and being comfortable in his skin, and especially in this, man, everybody's learning on the fly right now, but how much different of a coach is he today than he was when he walked in the door 10 years ago?
Well, he had a vision when he came in. He knew what he was getting into. 5 wins is not exactly the way you want to start out, but he told me that he recruited and he had to really bring in everybody. Um, he brought in players that he said could
Hmm.
handle losing and learning and building a culture, because the culture that was there before was probably totally diametrically opposite of his philosophy. And so he established discipline, hard work, defensively, academics. If you were late for a class, everybody ran the next morning at 6 o'clock. They always sat in the front row. Those are the type of things that he instilled, and his recruiting was, uh, for example, if a player asked about his playing time, no matter how, in the visit, no matter how much talent he had, it was a check mark.
Yeah.
If a parent was overly involved in a visit, that was a check mark. And so his philosophy just it just kept, you could see the growth. It was getting better, it was getting better, it was getting better. And then players were getting better as they went along because of teaching, um, patience, and really recruiting kids that wanted to get better. And that has just matriculated all through the first 10 years. And so people know when they get here, they're going to be coached. They're going to be coached hard. But when the practice was over, everybody hugged. I mean, he has the ability to be in his laboratory, so to speak, and when it's over, everybody's a family. And I have seen that work. And you learn through mistakes. You want to learn through winning, but you can also learn from the other half of it too. So he has the best qualities of every coach that I have worked with rolled into one, and that's why he's been successful.
As we said a little earlier, we're all on 1 year contracts. Everybody feels, there's always a natural turnover now annually, but you've had some guys that have been there for a while, and it's kind of a changing of the guard a little bit now with Dean and Hannah Montgomery and Christian Davis. Like, what's the foundation of the program right now, and how comfortable is everybody right now with the foundation of the program? What's there? What has been added at this point to try to, there may be half a step taken back naturally when you lose as much talent as you have out of this senior bunch. But where's this Bradley team you thinking in terms of where they're going to be next year?
Well, I think that they have recruited very well. At least they've got another guard from Milwaukee coming in, and that's where this tree has come from. Uh, Demarion Birch was hurt and sick a lot of the season, but when you take a look at his numbers when he played, they're really off the chart in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage and free throws. And his defense got better. So he's obviously going to play a role, as will Jaquan. And then the guy who would probably improve more than anybody else was Meta, the 7-footer.
Yep.
And he came in, couldn't speak a word of English, and trying to learn a system when you can't even speak the language was tough. And he was big, he was gangly at this point, and every year he's gotten better and better. His offensive game has improved, but his defensive game is probably the strong point. Uh, the player at Illinois State, Chase,
Yep.
uh,
Walker.
uh, he in the first game he had 4 points. Uh, so he was becoming more of a force defensively, and just continually got better, just like some of these players have. So in his senior year, and so when you can start a guy, a 7-1 guy, with the guards that they have, and now they have recruited a guard, a transfer from Wright State, as they saw at the beginning of the year, and a young man from I think his name is MJ Smith from James Madison, which went to the tournament. And he averaged 13 points a game. So, but as far as the foundation is concerned, uh, player that really had a great game, uh, um, Thomas, from was a junior college player. He's back, Corey Thomas, and he had 21 against a very good front line in George Mason. So he will be back. So they have a handful of players back, but when you lose what they did, obviously with Duke and Darius and Christian, who wanted to play closer to home, really,
Yep.
his family attended a lot of games, and they came from Denver here, and because there was a direct flight, which it was great. But I think it would make sense to go back with Jimmy Foster, wouldn't it?
Yep.
So
Did pretty well.
I don't think he is announced yet. By the way, we had Connor Hickman, who left and went to Cincinnati, and his assistant coach Chip Bradley, that had the relationship when he went from Bradley to Cincinnati, is now at Indiana with Bargain. So they have two Bradley coaches there, and now just a couple days ago, Connor Hickman, who still is on that bubble whether he can play because he was hurt
Right.
and have the extra year. He went to College of Charleston. So sometimes you have to get a program to see where these guys are. But in answer to your question, they're going to have to add some new players. But look at Drake. They were picked, what, fourth? And they got some new players
Right.
and did quite well.
They did just
So
fine.
you never
Did just
know
fine.
what's going to happen. It's no guarantee that
Uh,
you're going to win the league if you're picked to win the league and you have all those players, because here came Drake and that great crew that they had.
what a year. What a year for the Bulldogs this year. Not to make this a pop quiz, but from a non-conference schedule, anything popping to mind right now that Bradley is going to have on the board for this year?
Bradley will host Washington State. It was a home and home,
Oh,
and
that's a
they
good
will
one.
play in San Francisco. I don't know about tournaments. I think those are the only two, because the other games were bye games one way or another. So I thought Bradley played a very good schedule during that period from Thanksgiving until and of course you have that game, the Valley games, at the beginning, and the Braves played an outstanding game at Southern Illinois, which was really struggling at that point before they got better. Those are the only ones I know at this point, but they're pretty quiet about that. So
It's all cloak and dagger.
All I want to do is find out where we're going for a tournament.
Uh, Murray State going to the Cayman Islands. So,
Oh,
yay,
okay, that's a great
yay.
tournament.
Yeah. Well, I don't really care if we're playing in an Applebee's parking lot. We're going to go to the Cayman Islands for 3 or 4 days. So
You know
we'll
what they
take.
do? I talk to Mike Mahon all the time, and he goes to that tournament. They hire the best officials you can hire.
Well,
That's good news.
what are we going to, I mean, my partner and I, especially him, I mean, he spends all the time complaining about the officials. So I don't know if he may not even need to make the trip now. If we're going to have good refs.
That's why on radio you have to be real careful because they can see the television what's going on. With radio, you have to put it in a way that they'll understand without risking suspension.
Correct. So I'm not sure about that one. I'm not sure. you just you gotta dance the dance where you can. Dave
But
Snell, the Hall of Famer, was this 45 years, 46 years this year? Is
I
it
just finished 47.
47? So
Mhm.
almost 1,500 games. How much runway we got left here?
Well, as long as my mind stays okay.
Well, I think we can check that box.
Well, my wife might tell you differently. No, I would like to stay, uh, get to 50
I
if
think
I
that'd be
could,
great. Sure.
and then let somebody else take it over. The best, about the best part of this business is being around these young people and how brilliant they are, and how many things they learn to go on into their future life by spending the time at a university, not just playing basketball.
Yep.
That keeps me young, and I know that being a part of that, to experience these young men as really young men and then grow into men, uh, just it's a memory that you don't forget, and that's what makes this business so great. Unfortunately, the nature of it now being a professional game has taken a little bit away from that.
It's a relationship. I mean, life's a relationship game, but yes,
Right.
the relationships are shorter. But I try to look at it as I'm just getting more relationships with people. They're coming in and
Yeah.
maybe they move a little faster, but you're going to enjoy the time while you got them, and hopefully be able to ride those out for years to come.
And you know what the other great thing is, Jeff, is the people in the media that you meet, that you become lifetime friends with. My best friend in the business is Mike Reese, who is at Southern Illinois.
Yeah,
And last year, not this season, but the season before, when Art Haynes from Missouri State came down with that awful Nile, West Nile, and it changed his whole life. They had a special night for him, and Bradley did not play, and Mike had retired. So we hopped in a car and drove to Springfield, Missouri to see that game,
that's
just
awesome.
to be there with Art. And that's the type of relationships that you build with these people, uh, that are just lifetime memories. Uh, Larry Kotler, do you remember that story?
I do
Larry,
not.
he was with Drake. He's a terrific guy. We did pregame interviews with each other, and he went to a soccer game where his daughter was to sing the national anthem. The game was postponed because of a incredible rainstorm, and on the way back, he got caught in a flash flood, and the door opened, and he drowned.
Oh my gosh.
And so Dick Lutke and I drove to Des Moines for the funeral.
Yeah,
Uh, so that's what you do with these people. You wind up having lifetime relationships, and it's what's great about the Missouri Valley Conference tournament, because it's like a reunion.
it
And
is.
and I'm sure that's the way it is in all the leagues, but I think the Valley has a special bond with all the broadcasters.
Well, I'm 2 years in, so still a relative newbie to doing radio in the league, but I've certainly enjoyed my time getting to spend with you, Dave, these last couple of years, and I very much appreciate the time today. Thanks for sticking with us and getting on here with us by hook or by crook, and hopefully we'll be able to talk again soon.
Technically, a lot of me is still in the 80s.
Hey, we landed the plane today. We're good.
Okay.
We landed
All
the
right,
plane.
Jeff. Thank you
Super
so
awesome.
much. It's great talking with you. Have a
All right.
great day.
You too. All right. There's the Hall of Famer, Dave Snell. Good stuff there. Boy, we had some travel story conversations this year of just some of the stuff he had to do. That trip to Pullman, Washington, to go play Washington State was a doozy, and it's the stuff we do for the teams we love and the games we love covering this league. All right, wrapping things up here. We've still got a couple other transactional pieces to talk about here this morning as Eric Henderson at Drake continues to add some pieces, and this one is, I think, what we could constitute a big piece. That is Isaiah Carr. He is a product of Denver University. He is 7 feet tall. You can't have enough shooting, and boy, you can't have enough 7-footers. And Isaiah Carr certainly fits that bill. 1 year at Grand Canyon, the last 2 years at Denver. He has maybe 2 years left. This again, the chart of how many years and how many, and it's almost like you can say they have that many years, but until they get to the end and then we decide to go through waivers or whatever, I think there's an injury year that he could get redshirted for that he could have 2 years remaining, at least one, maybe two. Played 12 games last season at Denver due to injury. 6.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.5 blocks per game. But if nothing else, he is a rim protector in the absolute perfect form at 7 feet tall. So some size heading to Des Moines to help out that Drake program. And finally, a recommitment, if you will. That is Tristan Ford, who is from Chicago, was one of 3 high school seniors who signed with Murray State last November. Things have been very quiet since the coaching change in Murray about what his future would be. And then Friday afternoon, he finally emerged and is like, I am still coming to Murray State. So one freshman on the board. 2 others said Caden Rickard last week, Trey Simpson, really right after the coaching change. Both said they were reopening their recruitment. So Tristan Ford will be the one freshman, incoming freshman on Murray State's roster next year. So the number, I believe, right now for the Racers is 10. So they still have 9 kids out of the portal, one incoming freshman in Tristan Ford, and then there are still 2 holdovers from last year in Patrick Chu, Justin Morgan. Still nothing official on them one way or the other on if they will return, but Ryan Miller getting closer. 10 official, 2 maybes, trying to get to that full 15 scholarships for next year as they get close to. And I'm going to have to do some math this week. They may be the closest officially to filling out their 15-man rosters. But again, with the transfer portal closing for the men tomorrow, women again on Wednesday, we should be getting closer here very soon in the coming weeks, because really we're about 5. Memorial Day is when, that's when guys start returning to campus or going to campus for the first time to begin summer workouts. So rosters, we're about 4 or 5 weeks away tops from needing to be finished and completed to get ready for that 2025-26 season. All right, that does it for today's edition of Morning in the Valley. Thank you to Bradley, legendary radio voice Dave Snell, for being with us today. Coming up Wednesday, we're going to talk with Northern Iowa men's basketball radio voice JW Cox will join us. Monday, Belmont men's head coach Casey Alexander will join us here on the program. So I appreciate everybody listening. As always, this thing continuing to grow a little more every day. Can't do that without you. Whether you're listening to us on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, head on over to YouTube. Just search Morning in the Valley. Like, subscribe, share, all that stuff. And then you get the little notification every time we go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 o'clock, right here, wherever you may be watching us. So for Dave Snell, for myself, thank you for watching this morning in the Valley, and we will talk to you again coming up on Wednesday.